Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Veterans series by Fantasy Football Hub. So in the previous videos in this series, we met Dan Cox and got to know a bit about his pretty impressive fantasy football history. If you missed it, the links are in the description below. In this video, we are going to learn how Dan actually managed to win Sky Fantasy Football. So Dan, are you able to give us a brief rundown of your winning season?
Yes, I am. And if you haven't seen it on the Hub, I have got an article where I just had to remind myself today. As I said to you before, once a season's gone, I do forget about it because you've got to keep moving forward and stuff. But yeah, I am same as normal. I've studied all the stats, pre-season sort of thing, the prices, made my shortlist, picked my team. Just started as every other season. Really, going into Sky that season, I'd always focus mainly on Sun Dream Team. Sky was I just picked it for the sake of it because you could win 25 grand. So I didn't pay too much attention to it to begin with, but then by the end of September, I was 200, had a pretty good team, and I was like, oh, this is all right. So that's when I started looking into it. So that's when I sort of discovered Disable Luke Williams. Found him on Twitter and sent him a couple of messages, and he gave me some tips and said you're in pretty good shape. And that's why I then started thinking like, right, I better start investing some time in this now because I've had a good start, and let's see where we can go, sort of things. So that's when Will runs the Hub. He had a blog that he was doing, so I got in contact with him, and he knew his stuff, and it's basically speaking to some really good Sky players who had good seasons. Like Will had good finishes, Luke had come fourth or so speaking to them, and I was 200th end of September, and that's when I started then looking at the fixtures, making sure I had a captain each day, and that was just mainly, you get 40 transfers, so it was just sort of making sure they lasted and having the best captain I could each day, and I think by the end of Feb, I was top 10 or so. End of March, I was sort of first or second, and that was it really. That was like everyone who had his captain scored a brace or a hat-trick, and that was the season that Sanchez, Kane, Lukaku all scored 25 plus, I think maybe even more. Ibrahimovic got a good 20, I think Aguero was about the same, and anyone who I brought in, that was unreal. Even Hazard and Coutinho must have got 16 goals or something like that. They were on a lot of points. So everyone who I had, I just had the luck. I got to that position, and then everyone was just scoring. I sort of seemed like this season gone by. Like you have Salah as captain, don't score. Have Aguero, don't score. Do you know what I mean? But it was just like hat trick, brace, another hat trick. Like everyone was just doing something. Whereas now I sort of have weeks and like I'm happy if I get a couple of clean sheets or something. But everything I touched turned to gold, and you got to have that luck.
Yeah, I do think that the kind of age-old argument around skill versus luck, and my take on skill versus luck, obviously, as you said, and you've admitted there that luck is a massive part of kind of winning anything or doing really, really well. But for me, you see such consistency, including yourself. So you finished first in Sky, and you finished, I think it was 25th or 30th, or
30th, 103rd.
Yeah, 103rd. So you've had three top, 100-ish finishes in the last 3 or 4 seasons. There's nothing kind of lucky about that. For me, the kind of skill versus luck thing is the skill comes in where you put yourself into a position where you can possibly win or not, and then from that, I think personally that's where the luck, it takes over a bit. You say you put in Hazard, right? You could have just as easily have put in someone else who could have got a red card as Son did this year. Just as an example, I put in Son this year. I put him in twice in the last 18 months. He's been low owned, on form, and he's been sent off twice. And he's gone from a potential 10, 15, 20, 25 point captain to like -4, -6. That's not bad play. That's just luck of the draw, and conversely as well. Then you get the luck as well. But I think you constantly put yourself into a position to give yourself a really good chance. It just so happened maybe that in that season the stars completely aligned, and you managed to actually win it and stuff. And and win the 50k. So that's absolutely amazing. At what point of the season, Dan, did you actually feel you could really win it? Because I know you won it fairly early on, didn't you? Was it like end of March or April? You were first, and you had a bit of a lead. Where was it in the season you thought, you know what, I can actually go on and win this thing? Was it like as early as Christmas or after that, or?
I think when I like that started off all right, and I've not really paid too much attention to Sky, and that's when I spoke to Luke Williams, and he was like, "Yeah, that 200th in September,
Yeah,
that's pretty good." And I hadn't used many transfers. He was like, "No, that's good." You know, as is now, like someone say, "Oh, September time, oh, don't know, 400th or something." "Oh, nice one, nice one." "Yeah, I've got 10 transfers left." I'm like, "Jesus, like you've used like 30 transfers in like 8 weeks." Like, okay, but so yeah, that gave me the hope. And when he was like, "Yeah, it's a pretty good team," and then I started like looking into, yeah, like so about September, I thought I could do something. But I think it was, yeah, I'd sort of say end of February.
yeah.
I just had such luck with things like, who was it? Gabbiadini, Southampton. He
Gabbiadini.
he'd had a cut. He'd had a really good run, and a lot of the boys who I speak to, like they'd brought him in. I think they were playing Spurs, and I just didn't fancy it. So I think I brought in like Son or someone like that.
Yeah.
And Gabbiadini got injured. They
Oh,
brought him in that day, and he got injured in about the first 20 minutes, gone off. And I had Son. I'm sure he scored or done something.
yeah.
And then I think the next game after, Son got a couple of goals again. He's quite streaky, and
He
you know what
is,
I mean.
yeah,
So he'd
sure.
done that, and I was like, yeah, nice. And then I just don't know. I was thinking, yeah. And then, like I say, just when you got Kane, when you had them who were just getting the goals they got, I just think, well, no one. I had all the best players that were just scoring every week, and there was nothing else you could really do. Like
Yeah.
I'd run out of transfers with a month to go, and Matthew Jones from the hub, I think he had 8 left, but because of the players I had, who else could you bring in? Like
Yeah,
I
of
know, right
course,
at the end,
yeah.
he brought in Gabriel Jesus and
Yeah.
I think Diego Costa, but Sanchez, Lukaku, Kane, and the form, and even the last day I fought Everton, Arsenal. Oh, I don't know about that, but even Lukaku scored because they were trying to get the golden boot. So
Yeah.
Lukaku scored, Sanchez scored, and literally everything went right. I even remember I was worried about Ibrahimovic not having him, and I think a few people had brought him in against Bournemouth. He got sent off. I don't know if you can remember us. We had the sort of tussle with Mings.
Oh, yeah.
Or Ming, when like Mings stamped on his head or
Yeah,
whatever.
I do remember. Yeah.
Or he got sent off. Or he did. I'm sure he got sent off. And yeah, I'm pretty certain he got sent off. A lot of people brought him in, made him captain. He got sent off, banned for the 2. And I was really worried about that 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
So he got minus points, and then he was
Wow.
suspended for the next 2. You're like, result, but like you have got to make your own luck.
Yeah.
And someone once said to me, he was a good fancy football player, won a lot of money. He just said, like, sometimes your name's just not on the cup. And when he said it, I didn't really get it, but it just isn't. Is it like Mark Edworthy? He must be one of the most unluckiest managers. He done the Son. I think he had. How many times has Son been sent off? Was it 2 or 3 times?
I think it's been twice in the last year. I think it was once. Is it once or twice this season?
He got sent
once
off
last
against.
year. I think it's 3
He
times.
got sent off against Everton, didn't he? When he,
did.
broke Gomez's leg.
Yeah.
And then he got sent off for kicking out of Rudiger, didn't he?
Yeah.
But like he brought him in both them games.
Yeah, I did
and
the
like
same thing.
I normally ask Mark, who are you bringing in? And he'll say Son. And I'm like, well, I won't bother with him. And that's what I sort of say, who are you having captain today? And he'll say Salah. And I think, I'll go Aguero. Do you know what I mean? Or because he does the same moves like I always do. I play it exactly the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came first, 30th, 103rd. I've sort of been quite consistent, but the moves I made have come off. But only takes a few of them not to. If I'd have made that Son move, gutted, you brought him in, he's got sent off. You got to then take him out. That's 2 transfers gone, no points. So it wasn't a bad move. It's just unlucky. But
just a
what
touch,
can you do?
Just a touch. A little more on that season, and and one of the probably most important things, which always strikes me when you talk about that season. So you say you get 40 transfers over a season. Is it right? You didn't use any, or used very, very few on your defenders and goalkeeper. Was that right?
Yeah, I think I used about 4.
Right.
I started to see. I'll quickly get it up right. So I started the season. Oh my Christ, with Stecklenburg in goal. Olsen for West Brom, Macaulay from West Brom. I think we kept Macaulay all season. He was pretty good.
He was.
Friend, don't even know what his first name was, but he was at Borough. This team's terrible. Mkhitaryan. I had Fisher. Victor Fisher from Middlesbrough. Ah, do you know what I mean? It's terrible. And even at the start, I took out Olsen for Masuaku, so that was just a waste. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I basically had to move Stecklenburg, got rid of Olsen and Friend. I brought in Holebas. He was just unreal that season for assists.
Yeah.
And I brought in, can't remember now. But yeah, I literally then I didn't mess about with the defence at all. Like, I just left it as that, and I just rotated the.
But the premise of your win was to try and get in the strikers who had the good runs of games, who can get like the serious points and just keep, as you say, hitting the braces, hitting the hat tricks, and that's when you get like 40, 50, 60 points then in a game in it. So I think that tip is probably really, really valuable for games which have limited sort of transfers, or things like Sky, the Telegraph are kind of similar games in that as well. And I've had reasonable success in a Telegraph by playing that way as well, is just leaving the defence and concentrating on using your transfers further up the pitch. So in terms of when you won, then you actually knew you won. You've already kind of mentioned in the previous part that you said to your mate, let's go out, I've just won 50 grand, let's go have a few Stellas and stuff. Has winning Sky kind of changed your, I don't know, your life in any way? I'm not saying that 50 grand is kind of a life changing amount of money. It's obviously a really nice wedge, but in terms of how you spend your time, you obviously spend a lot of time on Twitter. You spend a lot of time writing for the Hub. You do the podcast and stuff. Would you say that kind of winning it has changed your life or your outlook in any way on certain things?
Yeah, I'm guessing so. Like, the money, it's obviously a comfortable life, and like I say, paid off quite a lot of my mortgage.
Yeah.
I've got a lot left on that. But yeah, then even like writing for the Hub, and I was writing for Sky for a bit as well.
Right.
Doing that is, I do just love fantasy football. So I suppose I would have been gutted if I'd come second. Because second would have been all right. Do you know what I mean? But you haven't got that. Like, I've won it. Do you know what I mean? And I just love fantasy football and talking about it, writing about it, and talking to people. So yeah, I don't know. Like, fantasy football, as I do, like when I used to play with my workmates and stuff like that, was an easy way to get some extra money and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got a good job now, sort of thing. But I bought a house in like the 2007, just before the everything crashed. So didn't have a lot of money back in 2008. Do you know what I mean? And that was pretty tight, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was sort of thinking, like, I can't go through life with no money. I was like, how am I going to get some money? I'm going to have to win fantasy football or something. So I'd always been good at Dream Team, and like in that 2000 season, I came just out of the top 100 or whatever. And again in 2006 or something, I had a good finish in that. And I was like, I've got to win one of these. I've got to win a lot of money from fantasy football to be able to have a nice life. So it was an aim to. I'd aimed for 100 grand. I was like, if I get 100 grand, with comfortable life, then you ain't got to be worrying about going to the pub. I ain't got enough money for a pint. Even in the early days when we were doing the Sun Leagues and stuff, and when I first got into putting into the cash leagues, I'd sort of worry about spending a tenner on entering the cash league because I didn't have a tenner to really spare, sort of thing. So yeah, it was always an aim to. I just thought, I've got to win this. But yeah, how it's good, how I can write. Will want to be the right and stuff, and yeah, just love fantasy football. So to be able to do it with that title of having won Sky, and I like that. I then backed it up with a 30th and 103rd, and even this season I forget where I was, but I was on for another top 100. I think, hopefully, still will be. But didn't just win it and be like, oh yeah, I won Sky and 5 years ago, and I've done nothing since. Do you know what I mean? I then look out for people like then Jason won it. Nowhere to be seen next season. Do you know what I mean? Or I think, well, I can back it up. I know the guy who won FPL a few seasons ago who writes for someone else. I haven't looked in what he does, but yeah, he's won FPL, and that's how many people play that. Well, what have you done since? Like, are you still there, or have you won it and now you're down here now? Like, so I think I want to keep that level and be like, I am still one of the best Sky managers thereabouts. Do you know what I mean? I want to sort of maintain and not just, I've won it and don't care now. That's what we say about Oasis. Like Oasis, whatever you say about Oasis, like between 94, 95, 96, they were for them 3 years, they were like the best band in the world. You can't touch them. So I want to say, like from 2016 to 2018, first 30 of 100, like no one's going to beat that. Do you know what I mean? Like someone might, do you know what I mean? But to have that 3 years like that, I might then have 3 years where I don't do so well, but I'll then come back. Do you know what I mean? It goes in peaks and troughs, doesn't it? Like
it does, yeah. But you're not doing so well. Will be like 500th or 600th, which will be a lot of other places. You know, you know, a lot of other players' highest ever finish and stuff. So I think this is where that skill versus luck comes in. The luck is really prevalent, but actually the skill, and this is why, you know, I joined the Hub, and I love working with the Hub. Is we've got so many managers in all games who've got this kind of a record and experience and stuff. So, but yeah, you know, amazing, amazing achievement, you know, and to keep doing it year on year. So this would be your fourth season in 5 where you finished roughly in the top, 100 or so out of a game played by over 500,000 players. Is
what win it again, mate? Well, win it again. Then I'll retire.
Then you'll retire, yeah. Okay, so in the next video then, we'll be asking Dan for his fantasy football tips and advice, as well as putting him on the spot in a quick fire A or B round. The link for this is in the description below.